unkindly and said he had escaped, but whichever it was, it left Hazel with a young baby and an ardent nature, and with a reputation for hot temper and peevishness. Hazel, at 32, realised that her chances of remarriage were few and far between, so fastened on the most pliable male in the small community, who happened to be Rodney Stringer, the baker. I don't think there was anyone in the village who didn't warn Rodney that Hazel was after his blood. But Rodney was one of those kind men who couldn't bear to say no or hurt anyone's feelings, and he had almost become Hazel's property when we came to live on the fells above the village of Rothcorn. But after he was seen giving me a lift for the third time in a week, the men in the Fox and Hounds began laying bets on Hazel getting her nose put out. Mrs. Bailey in the post office gave me this information. I didn't tell her that they would lose their bets. No, on being given this information, did I shun Rodney, because I had no fears of any overtures from him. I recognised him as a natural, kindly soul, and not so soft and pliable as he allowed the villagers to imagine. But that he had a deep interest in me and my welfare at heart I had proof of, and only yesterday at the latest, for, meeting me supposedly by chance at the foot of the fell, he showed me an advert in the Northumberland Times, which read, "Wanted, part-time secretary to writer. Apply Maurice Rossiter, Tor-Fret house, near Long Framlington, Northumberland." "But, Rodney," I had said, "it's only part-time. I must have a full-time job." "Bill Arnold'll take you on. I asked him afore I came up. Only too glad, he said. He's up to the eyes." "You are kind, Rodney." I had touched his hand, but only for a second, for the colour had risen in his face, and he had said quickly, It's nowt at all." And then he added, "Why don't you phone them and ask them for an appointment? I'll take you down to the coal box at Biddy's Cross, and you can do it from there, eh?" I became smitten with his enthusiasm, and so I let him take me to Biddy's Cross, where I phoned the advertiser, Maurice Rossiter, with the result that at 10 o'clock on this Saturday morning I was to go to Tor-Fret and see this man. My mother's voice came from the foot of the stairs at this moment, calling quietly, "It's ready, lass." "I won't be a minute," I called back. I was washed and dressed, but I decided against putting my makeup on until I had had my breakfast, and so it was actually only a minute or so later when I went down the narrow stairs which led directly into the living room. A room bright with china and brass and sunshine, made comfortable with a couple of good rugs and 3 easy chairs, and made interesting with a piano and one wall completely lined with books. My father was already seated at the breakfast table, which was set under the window, and, his face turning towards me, he pointed outwards, saying, "What do you bet I can't see Coquet Island and the lighthouse? The air's as clear as glass. Look there." He was bending towards the window now. I sat down opposite to him, and I too bent forward and looked out onto the scene that was both majestic and beautiful. For now the sun was softening the fells where they rose one behind the other, mighty shelves of rock, driving forever onwards, touched here and there with grass and heather, and defying anyone at this moment to imagine them blotted out by wet fret, or mist so thick that its weight lay on you, or wind-driven snow that blinded your eyes and sealed your lips with ice. And this could happen in a few short weeks from now, for we were at the end of September. My father was saying, "Look, that speck out there against the blue. Down there. Look." "Don't be daft," put in my mother, as she placed the teapot on its stand on the table. "You'll be thinking next you're seeing Alnwick Castle." "That's the head, or if it isn't, it's the island. I bet you what you like, and I bet I could see Alnwick Castle a morning as clear as this, or I'd have to look t'other way," he laughed. "Get your breakfast now and don't be silly." My mother sat down and began to pour out the tea. My mother's voice always held a sharp note that would have made a stranger imagine there was no softness in her, and there they would have been gravely mistaken. She was generous-hearted, was my mother, and gentle and kind, but she put on a brusque front, like the front that lots of women put on when their men are hale and hearty and working. She kept this front for my father to give him the idea that he was no less a man than he had always been, and it worked well.